Well, thanks for this opportunity to speak to everybody here. And I appreciate the fact that you are showing up, as Rabbi Leiter just said. That is huge. And the amount of support and outreach that I've seen in the last 6 days has been really heartwarming, alongside a truly horrific thing we've all been through. And I've seen the pictures and I've spoken to the families because we're trying to tell their stories as well in a number of different ways. I want to just start with two things and then end with how people can help. And there's a lot you can help with. And actually, maybe I'll kind of steal my own thunder and say that already. You can help by showing up and speaking up, okay? And that will connect to my own personal learning in the last year, really, which has been a year of awakening for me in particular. Many of my friends in high tech and civil society who are now, as Ben just said, have been extraordinarily helpful. We've woken up to our responsibility as human beings and individuals towards our community. And we've woken up to how fragile that is. And the other thing we've woken up to is the fact that the fairy tales are nothing compared to reality. Imagination is really poor when you compare it to what people are able to do. And evil is real. And most of us, good, naive people, refuse to believe that and always try to believe in the good until we actually see it. And what we're seeing in the last 6 days is pure evil. And it's our job to explain to the world that that's what it is, and that it should no longer exist, and that it is not tolerated, and it cannot be equivocated or argued or turned into some political debate. It just is not. It's on a completely different level. These are monsters, and they just did not deserve any attention at all. And there's a warning signal, and I keep saying this is like 9/11, the Holocaust combined, not in terms of numbers in different ways, but yes, in terms of just the level of atrocity. And I'll probably share a post that I did this morning around never again. This is our never again moment in this century. 2 words about what we're doing. So as Ben has said, all of civil society is in this thing. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. I don't even know how many, we cannot count them, that have shown up immediately to offer their time, their money, their energy, their knowledge, their skills, whatever it is, they're there. There are, just to describe it to you a little bit, so there are centers in various places in the country. I've been going to the one in Tel Aviv. There are other ones that literally have thousands of people who show up, first of all, just to work there all day. It's called like a war room, but it isn't. It's a gigantic conference center, right? And some people show up with equipment. They bring, food and toys and medicine and diapers and stuff for people who have been displaced. There are people who are working on actually finding homes for people who need homes. There are people who are working on identifying bodies and finding people who are missing and rescuing people when they were still stuck in various places, and talking to people everywhere in the world and connecting them. And technology, the high-tech sector in particular, has been active in providing online mental services, support services, and on the other hand, cybersecurity services and database and encryption and everything. So everyone is contributing what they can. And to me, this is a lesson on how we come together and how strong we are as a people. And that is a very positive. I'm an optimist by nature. I'm an entrepreneur and investor. You can't do it otherwise. So I do think, despite all the horror, there is a silver lining in the end, which is we will emerge out of this a lot stronger, because we are together and we are working together, and we've put everything else aside. And we also know what the issues are that we need to be dealing with, so that the next however many years of Israel are robust, successful, united, fair, democratic, all of those things that we want it to be. What you can do. So one, you can speak up. We're doing a number of things to make that easier for you. Anything from content that we're posting ourselves to videos we're making to make content more easily digestible, to actually enabling you to get access to the real footage, which I have to say is really hard to watch, but sometimes you kind of need that in your head. And again, I'm going back to the Holocaust, and I apologize for that because it isn't the same. But there are images I remember as a child from school about things we learned about, and there are images I see now, and I'm sorry to say that they look really similar, and you don't want them in your head, but you really, really should have them in your head, okay? And I'm sorry, I apologize for saying that, but it's true. It's part of education as human beings to understand what is possible, and therefore our responsibility to stop that. And if we haven't seen that, we cannot tell other people who deny it, and they're already denying it. We cannot tell them unequivocally, I have seen the pictures. I have spoken to the victims who survived. I've spoken to the families. I know, okay? And the more people who know, the harder it will be to do this again. And I'm saying this because for the last year, I've been saying the world's going back 100 years. It's going back 100 years in terms of the wave of anti-liberalism and the intolerance and the atrocities that we're seeing everywhere. And now we're seeing them here. And I think it's because people have become further away from firsthand experience. People who can say, I've been there, I've seen it. And now everybody in Israel is touched by this personally, because we all know people who've been there and who have suffered the loss or whatever. So I think we all need to be there, really, really be there, and expose ourselves to horrible things we don't want to see, so that we can tell it firsthand, so that the circle of good, it sounds like cliche, it really isn't. The circle of good, the circle of people who care and who know and have the evidence to prove, I know, that circle needs to be huge and strong. And I want all of you to be in that circle, please. And I want all of you to make that circle as large as you can make it through your own personal connection. That is what we have to do. It's not what we can do, it's what we have to do. And obviously that comes with our obligation to defend ourselves as a nation. As you know, we're fighting now on our multiple fronts probably, and we have to get the job done. And I don't know what the plans are. I'm not leading the army yet, but I'm just saying, you need to enable us to do that, okay? Because otherwise evil will not be extinguished and this will happen again, and that is not an option.